Big.
You need the net?
I don't know if he's that big. Just stops.
I'll get the net anyways. Right next to you, right next to you.
Oh, wow.
Side.
I don't know if this is a bass, dude.
Keep your thumb on your knife, like your thumb on it if you need to. Just free spool.
I can't get it.
Free spool.
It won't click.
Nice and gentle, nice and gentle.
You guys need a bigger net?
We may. We haven't seen it yet.
Is it another muskie?
It's fighting like one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
We just landed a 49-inch muskie out there. It's fighting like one.
3 of them was already in.
Have ya? We just landed a 49-inch. Time. I think they are. They're just having a grand old time. Have you one? Time. I think they are. We just landed a 49-inch old time. This fish hasn't even come up yet.
Yeah.
Time. I think they are. This fish hasn't even come up yet. It's old time.
The head shakes.
Uh-huh.
The head shakes.
It's a big one. Another one.
Oh my god.
Let me get that other net out. You're good. Take your time, man. Take your time. Let me get that other net out. You're good. Take your time, man.
And another one. And another one.
It's underneath everything, okay?
You're
You're good. Take your time.
I wanted to kill it.
Did you say kill it?
Kill it.
Gill it. Yeah, I got you. Oh, we're good, man. We'll get it. We landed a 49.5 right out there. On bass gear again.
I don't want him to get to that.
You're fine. I know. You're fine. He's gonna go up there.
Oh yeah, what are you supposed to do about that?
Come on. She comes up. She's starting to get tired.
It's like with the smallmouth ball too. You can say you're coming out here to catch fish.
I think it is.
I think she's just smallies before they got that big.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Oh my god.
It's got a lamprey on it too.
Keep it up. Loosen it. Loosen it.
You guys need to get a bigger net, that's for sure.
We normally don't fish down here. We're from upstate by Midland, Saginaw area.
He's got a big
Is your net bigger?
I've been told you guys.
He tried to hand you his net.
This one bigger than yours, Kobe?
Yeah, I think
I think it is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think his is a little larger. Can we?
way more girth, dude.
You guys gotta have a nice deep net, wide net.
It's got a big lamprey on it.
He's coming right back.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Take your time. Don't let her go under. You're all good. You're all good. Keep that line.
That trolling motor.
You're all good.
Get him quick with his trolling motor.
Oh yeah, look at the depth of that net.
Oh my god, dude, it's right here.
Here. Don't panic. Don't panic. Take your time. Take your time. Let her chill.
As soon as you can get to me.
Yeah. That's big fish. That's
Hey, keep it in the water.
keep them in the water.
No, you're right. I know.
Fucking size.
No, way more girth though.
Support that belly then, man. There you go. Right on the leg. Right on the leg. Don't worry about slime.
Oh my god.
There you go. Take it out of the way.
That one got a bigger belly than yours, Kobe?
I think it does, man. She looks more pregnant, man.
Pregnant. Ladies hate to hear that, you know.
I don't think she minds too much, to be honest with you. There you go, mate. More pregnant her. Good English.
Nice.
There you go, mate. There you go. Get her
Muskie
dick.
guys definitely on a boner.
There you go. Hold it by that tail.
Yeah, hold it by it still, kind of rotate it, push it up and
Just flip him.
Oh shit.
You missed. There it is.
So we just got done with our day on St. Clair, and to put it mildly, it was pretty amazing day. I mean, it was pretty epic. We made some really good decisions on the water, moved to a couple different areas, and kind of got away from the traffic to try and get after some big fish. Kobe really put together a little bit of a pattern on our second spot, and so did Ness. I mean, those two back to back were just hammering fish on a crankbait.
You kind of saw the bite was pretty slow. We were doing a little bit of a blade bite, and it was slow, and it wasn't a real consistent pattern. We weren't getting a lot of good key bites, and the pressure, as Ben talked about earlier in the video as well, the pressure from other boats. We had about 30 other boats that were surrounding us in that area. It's just getting a little bit much. So we decided to go look for some different stuff. Another spot that I've hit in the past here before. where we know the fish kind of come up. They use it, it's really close to some deep water. Those fish use it as kind of a highway to get up to where they kind of want to spawn. They like to use that. The water's a little bit warmer, so what we ended up doing was throwing some deep cranks. We're cranking along the bluffs, kind of bouncing along the bottom there in between the rocks. It's a little technique that we kind of do out on the Great Lakes. We like to call it tickling crankbait. It's where you get it right down into the bottom, kind of essentially what you're supposed to do with a deep diver, but rather than kind of burning it through like some guys do, we just kind of walk it through. It's a real slow pattern. You're kind of picking it through the rocks.
Try to feel every rock.
Every single rock. Yeah, you're like counting rocks down there, and it's a lot of fun. We caught a lot of good smallmouth. We ended up catching, Ben and I both caught a muskie today. I caught a 49.5 and Ben caught a 47. So that's not something you do every day. It was insane. So
it was crawling them over the rocks, and then it was they were taking it off, like pumping it, and like as it was rising up off the bottom, they were coming up and just crushing it. And I mean, they're blowing like 2 or 3 feet of slack in the line. They were choking it. Like there was a few fish where I felt pretty bad.
We probably caught over 45 smallmouth and 2 muskie, which is an amazing day in
First official day out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
For you, yeah, for you guys, it's a good way to start off. Heck
yeah. So we started off the year with some great fish.
Fireworks.
And really started it off strong. So I'm looking forward to putting out some new video in the upcoming days. So stay tuned. And until next time, guys, take care, tight lines, God bless.
Peace.
Yeah?
Heck yes.
Here's some more. Take this one. This is that's a laminate. That's
You even got my size.
Dude, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, dude.
What's going on, guys? We're out here on Lake St. Clair today with my buddy Brandon and Grant. Grant is the owner of Mismo Baits and Crunchers, and Grant's hooking us up with some tubes, and then we're gonna get out here and try to catch some smallmouth. But today's gonna kind of be interesting. Like, this wind really kind of messed things up.
70-mile-an-hour gusts yesterday. Drove through Detroit on the way up. Half of Detroit doesn't have power still, so it's going to be interesting. But you know, just power through, figure them out.
So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Got a couple dudes coming up this week that we're gonna hopefully get on some really, really big smallmouth. They're all from out of state, all from down where they don't have big smallmouth. So I'm coming out here to try and learn some stuff from Brandon. Grant's hooking it up with some tubes, and because I'll tell you what, dude, there were like no tubes in my box. But I'm gonna leave the link to a whole bunch of stuff down in the description for you guys, tubes and whatever. Like some of this color, some other secret colors. But if you guys are interested in that, check out the link in the description. You guys can check out some tubes. With that said, dude, thanks for hooking it up. And we're gonna go out and catch some fish.
Blade bait. I mean, I was throwing a Senko against Rip Rap, flipping docks, that kind of stuff. This is hopefully one of 100 today. We'll see.
Get away, dude. Oh, dude, that looks like a good one. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, that's a freaking tank, dude. Here.
Not really fighting much.
Oh, God, dude.
Oh my gosh.
No! Oh! Blade bait.
Damn, I don't know how big he was. I didn't get a great look at it. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I got it on camera so you can look at it a couple times. Oh, dude.
St. Clair.
I didn't get like a great look at it. All I saw was it roll, and I'm like, oh no. If you had that fish on a swim bait, done.
We'd
as
be
soon as you,
right now.
oh yeah.
Yep.
That's the thing though, like treble hook baits and just stuff like that just happens. It sucks. That sucks.
Catch at least a 2.
Lake St. Clair Spy Bait Challenge. That's what we're gonna call the video, and then I'm just gonna get tons of hate because it's too easy.
Yeah. Yeah. The challenge, third cast, got it.
Got it. That's all. Thanks for watching the video. Yeah, exactly.
Right at me now. This one hit way at the end of my cast on slack line.
Of course.
Not super big.
That's a good one, dude. He choked it, dude.
Oh, it came out.
Dude.
Look at that.
That's...
All these maggots.
Dude, that's... Want to get it on scale?
Yeah. Yes,
Ooh. 4.7. 4-7.
Sweet. Take a bunch of those.
Good work. Damn, dude.
I don't need to tell you what you need, what you know.
Yeah, I told you I gave you a head start, but
Nah, he's not very big. Holy cow. Feisty though. Thank you.
good work, dude.
Little rat.
Dude, that's not even it. It's probably still 3.
Yeah, he's a little bigger than I thought.
Good work, dude. Oh, let's see if they'll eat a rig. God, dude, I got crushed.
You let me know if you keep it in.
Oh.
You both flipping with the rig or no?
Yeah, he's not that big. It's just
One
head.
thing I found is most fish I've caught out here on the rig aren't very big.
Maybe.
Oh, it's a decent one.
That's a
You
good
want
one. Yeah. No, because it's gonna get the rig's gonna get all hung up.
that? Oh yeah. Well, you let me know. I've got a rig.
I will. He choked it anyways. I'll just go in after. That's a fat fish. It's not that big, but it's fat. God, that was so cool. Man, that fish crushed it. I really thought there were gonna be like 2 or 3 with it.
I was watching.
That's an awesome fish. And that's not like a mega, but that's a fat smallmouth. Thanks, buddy. Dude, that was sweet. He freight trained that rig. There. Dude,
That's kind of right where I cast it too.
wrecked it.
Try to.
Dude, that's either big or there's multiple.
I just saw a flash. I think it's spinning.
Maybe. No, he's not that big. He's just
Fighter.
a fighter. Dude, he hit that off color one too. Oh, dude, that's a chunk.
Heck yeah, dude.
Holy smokes, man. Hit that target, the one that's all painted up. That's what's cool, like you can see which ones they want.
Now the fat chunk.
Look how fat that fish is. Back-to-back cast with it. Thanks, buddy. You guys can probably see it all right. I mean, there's a giant bunch of boats coming over this way, and there's a bunch of boats over there. Like, this is normal for St. Clair this time of year, so this isn't like anything crazy, but this is just kind of how the fishing is out here. You just kind of fish along because there's just millions and literally millions and millions of fish.
Okay, so just boat flip this fish, not realizing that he was as big as he was. When you catch so many of them, it's hard to get a perspective because the 2-pounders will fight really well, and you'll think you need the net, and the 4-pounders will fight like a wet sock sometimes, and you won't think you need the net.
Like, that's a big one earlier.
Awesome.
Good work, dude. Big.
Holy cow.
Dude, mine's big.
I don't know what the heck mine is, bud.
No,
Holy cow.
a monster. Mine's big too.
Oh my gosh. Is you still on?
Yeah.
I got net. I got net.
Oh, dude. Holy freaking smokes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good work. Right here.
Nice job, man.
Oh, dude,
Gotta
cookie
love it.
cutters.
Yep. Gotta love it.
That's so cool, dude.
Keeping track, that is now swim bait, blade bait, and jerk bait down.
Good work, dude.
Awesome. Give it up, man.
Oh, my heart's pumping, dude. Holy smokes. Only the American water is open right now. Canadian water doesn't open up till what, July 1st?
Yeah.
Or last week of June or something silly? So, every boat out here is on American water. And so you have millions and millions and millions of fish out here, all willing to eat, and you have hundreds of boats out here for like weeks straight, and we're still able to catch them side by side with other guys. I mean, if you guys can see it, there's more boats than I could probably count out in front of us, and we're seeing guys catch them all the time. Yeah. There. That's big, dude.
Yes, it is.
Look at that. Not that big, but man, oh my gosh. Look at how fat that fish is.
I saw.
Holy smokes, what a fat fish. Thanks, buddy. What's going on, everyone? So we are about halfway through the day. It's just after 12 o'clock. And we're coming out here trying to find some more fish. We're gonna actually run a little bit further south, try to look at a couple new areas and see if we can't catch a couple. But Brandon's pretty much caught them on everything. He caught some on a blade bait, caught some on a jerk bait, a swim bait. That's about it. And then I caught all of my fish on an A-rig. So Brandon was catching them really good on a swim bait. So I tossed that A-rig on and was able to catch 5, I think, so far. And all of them have been really, really, really fat fish. But what's funny, and I'll explain why this is funny a little bit later. What's funny is only one of those fish ate the target bait. And what the target bait is the center bait that I have colored up really to look totally different in the pack. I used to eat like straight garbage on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
So I had to start packing my own lunch. So that's why I got a bag of peppers. I mean, it probably doesn't taste as good as like a bag of beef jerky, but I promise you, it probably makes me feel better. I kind of tied on the rig as a joke to start, guys, and every single one of my fish have come on it. It's a 7-wire, 5-hook rig. I have a couple baits painted up as targets, and then 2 dummies up at the top.
It doesn't feel like a big fish, but it's swimming like that. Those were giant. I'm gonna have to come to the front.
Good, good. Pretty big. Oh, dude.
Nice.
Frickin'
Dark one.
dark. That's a big fish, dude. Good work.
They're here.
Dude, good work. I mean, that like just barely hit the bottom.
Yeah.
Dude. It's a beautiful fish,
Yes,
dude.
it is. Sweet.
Awesome job.
Holy crap. They're so strong.
Dude,
That's a big one.
Oh! Good freaking work, dude.
Oh man, he hit that a couple times.
Dude, that's a tank.
Man, they're just
Want a picture?
so aggressive. Yeah, I'll take a picture of this one.
Holy smokes, that's a tank. 0. You're within like 2 ounces. This is like a 4.3.
Yeah. Perfect.
Dude, awesome job.
Thanks, man. I stroked it, had him on, head shake, came off.
And then
2 strokes later, it came back with the plunge.
Because that blade probably just fell almost straight. So that fish probably just sat there and when it fell again. And you're on that silver blade.
Yeah.
First Saturday in May. Oh wow. How? I should just let it load. There. Yep. That's a monster. I'm just flipping. Good work.
I know you don't like getting tangled up, but I was like, I don't want to take the chance.
You're good, you're good. Thank you. They got one too.
What's that?
They got one too. That A-rig bite is so much freaking fun, dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what you said?
Yeah. Dude, again, not on the target bait. He did hit the different colored one, but it wasn't the one I painted all up. Bye-bye, fish. Got one. Big. Bass.
What's that?
I don't think it's a bass.
I don't know what else it would be.
Sheephead?
Oh,
That's a smallie.
Ate it like you wanted to eat it, though. That's still a good smallmouth.
Want to get a picture for me?
Yeah.
It's a good fish. Bye-bye. Well, things have drastically slowed. The whole day has kind of been going in waves. Like we'll catch 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden it'll shut off for a little bit, and then we'll catch 3 more, and then we'll shut off. So we think these fish are grouped up a little bit. The wind is coming straight out of the south. Totally different than forecasted, but it's kind of been fun. We've kind of been able to do a bunch of different things, throw a blade bait, throw a swim bait, throw the A-rig, the jerk bait. Basically, it's been very, very diverse. I got a whole bunch of different techniques on the deck of my boat, catching fish a whole bunch of different ways, and we've had to actually run a lot of water. Typically this time of year, these fish kind of group up in small areas, and I do think that's true to an extent, but at the same time, it's been a little bit tougher than I guess we anticipated it being today. Well, we're back at the ramp. I don't really have a whole ton to say. You guys kind of saw everything, and it was rough. Really, really rough out there. I'm soaked, I'm cold, almost fell in, my hands are torn up. That's a long story for a different time, but we're back safely at the ramp. These waves are a lot different than Lake Huron waves, especially when it gets rough and blows straight out of the south. So with that said, we're gonna put her on the trailer, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button down below. Check out Brandon's Instagram. I'll leave it linked in the description below. And as always, take care, tight lines, God bless. What is going on, guys? I am out here today on legendary Lake St. Clair with the man, Captain Brant Shredders. He is the man out here on St. Clair, catches a ton of giant fish. And hopefully today, I know it's real early season, the water's dirty, it's one of his first trips out here, but hopefully we'll get on some giant fish. For those of you guys that have been around a while, you've seen Brant. Some of my other videos, we caught some mega bags of smallmouth up north a little ways, and he's just a smallmouth hammer. So hopefully we'll get on some big fish for you guys and show you what Lake St. Clair is made of.
Staring at those city lights, had some ugly days to get some pretty nights. Cut some people off, dreams take a sacrifice. Yeah, they wanna make it, but can never pay the price.
Like a certain type of thing. And if you once you got it, you could pick it out and be like, okay, the wind.
That feels like a pretty good one.
The wind's blowing from this way. The sun's shining on this bank, this type of bank, and then when the sun changes direction, the way
Yeah, it just changes. Oh, dude, that's pretty. There we go. Good work, dude.
Get the skunk off.
There we go. Thank you, dude. First St. Clair Smallie of 2019. Look at that. Thanks, fish. Take care, bud. Little Ned rig, 1/5 ounce. Oops, I'm sorry. There you go. Better one. Good job, dude. That's a chunk. That's a giant.
Like 3.5?
Yeah. That's
Super
a good
gold.
fish, dude.
Goldfish, dude. So light colored.
Oh. Good work. Good work. Super fat fish.
Stripes.
Yeah, it's a pretty one.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we are. See, buddy? There's a lot of good rock right there. Holy moly. I just wonder if they're on that little bit, that next drop. Because if we're sitting, what are we sitting in? 7? Oh, wow. I got wrecked, dude. I don't even know if it's...
We're pretty much right on that.
Holy... God dang, man. I got wrecked twice on that cast. Holy smokes, man. Almost ripped the rod out of my hand. How he didn't get it? Probably because the bait's so dang big.
I hit spot lock, so
Whew.
it's going to turn this a little bit.
That is crazy. I mean, I'm throwing this big old trap, but like...
You're just still rolling it?
Yeah. Down? Good work, dude.
Not a bad one.
That's a chunker. It's a fatty.
I think Cindy's going to be caught this year.
Yeah.
Roughed up.
Guys, look at how he choked that. That is a duo vibe. I mean, that thing is gone. It's only got 2 hooks on that one. Thank you, fish. Yeah, that's a giant, dude. He's just so fat.
Long, but he's stout.
Thanks, buddy. Swims away.
Nice.
Good work, dude. Thank you. So this is the bait I was throwing. It's a Duo Realis G-Fix Vibe 68, I think. It's like a 3/4 ounce bait, but in a super small body. So I'm fishing it just like a blade. And I'm casting it out there, letting it hit bottom, and just slow lifting it. It has like those BB style rattles in there, and that fish choked it head first. I mean, that fish definitely wanted it. Pushing 5 pounds, didn't get it on the scale. Just wanted to get her back and make sure she was able to go. So I'm shaking, but that was a really good fish. Just fishing offshore rock.
Best fish of the year so far?
Yeah, that was a giant. Man, she hit that thing head first. I mean, it was freaking gone.
He scarfed it.
Yeah, it was just like when I went to lift it, it was just
Nothing but
no, it was just,
hanging out.
oh man, it was just all weight. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Good work, thank you, dude. I felt her too, like she missed it and then came back and got it again. Guys, that Duo crankbait is doing work on these fish. Thanks, bud. That fish ate it and then came back and got it after she missed it the first time. Well, boys and girls, a midday update for you. We've caught a couple now. Brant is putting us on some fish, and the key here is finding those isolated offshore rock patches, because that's going to be that first staging area that these bass are going to move into from that deep cold water. Water temps are in the mid 40s, between 45 and 50 degrees, and these fish are kind of not grouped up yet. They're just starting to push in shallow. Lake St. Clair is known to have lots of big groups of fish all in certain areas of the lake, and we're just trying to figure out where those groups of fish are right now. And like I mentioned, they're not grouped up yet, but Brant has put us on a couple of big fish. I caught that one just about 5 pounds. He caught a 4.5, and then a couple other really good ones. He's caught them dragging a Ned rig and a tube, and I've caught them fishing a Ned rig and now that Lipless crankbait. But even that lipless crankbait, I'm kind of fishing slow and low along the bottom. I'm kind of dragging it and hopping it, but I think it's helping me out that it's eliciting a reaction strike from some of these fish. So we're gonna keep kind of poking around, trying to find some more of these groups of fish, and hopefully catch a couple more megas before the end of the day. But it's all thanks to them.
No sea legs yet. Too early in the season. Five, 7.
Dang.
Not bad.
Dude, that's a giant.
I'll take it.
Good work, dude.
I didn't take long with that new crankbait.
No. Dude, another good one. Oh, dude. Good work.
Yeah. Right.
It's another giant, dude.
Now we're on something. Taking that. Grinding through them.
How fat that fish is, dude.
He's not quite as big as that other one. These stout.
Yeah, he is. That's a
Big
good
as
one,
4
dude.
and a half.
Yeah. All
4.
day.
4 and a half.
Yeah. Good freaking work. Super solid. Giant fat fish. Thanks, buddy. Bye. Guys, that is the end of the day. We are back here at the ramp. And Brant put us on him today, dude. We crushed him. Thank you for taking me.
Slight crushing. We did a slight crushing.
We caught some giant fish, dude. You caught like a 5.5. I caught one over 5. You probably caught another one over 5, plus a bunch of 4s. I mean, dude, we crushed.
It was fun. I had a great time.
Welcome to Paradise on Earth.
Good morning, everyone. The very first fishing YouTube video of 2022, which is kind of insane. It's never been May before I posted a fishing YouTube video. Probably since I've had my boat and my YouTube channel. Yeah, I got out on Lake St. Clair for the first time, caught my first bass of 22 on April 29th.
Got him.
Yep. Okay, we're done for the season, boys. That's all we needed. He ate it though, really good. That felt good. Thanks, buddy. First fish of the season, last fish of the season. We're done. We're done, boys. End of the YouTube channel. Yeah. Hopefully we'll catch them jerk baiting, throw on the lipless crankbait, and it's going to be a good day. Let's get to the water. I'll catch you guys here in just a second. What's your name? Toby, what's your name? We're on the water, Lake St. Clair. Hopefully we're going to catch some fish. I mean, it's one of those days where we have a little while. Right now the wind isn't blowing super hard. So we're gonna get out, see what we can make happen in Ryan's boat. That'll be a different story for a different time. We're about to blast off. Let's catch some fish. I'm excited to make a video for you guys. Get back after it after a long, cold, brutal winter. I'm gonna let everyone else start out with a jerkbait, and I'm gonna pick up the lipless because this is what I was catching them on yesterday. It's just a little small half-house lipless crankbait, yo-yoing it around the shallow rock jetty. And I didn't film much yesterday. I kind of was up in the air about whether or not I wanted to film this spot, but it's just part of what fishing is, right? Lake St. Clair, there's a lot of recognizable spots, a lot of recognizable areas, and so we're just gonna film and have fun and catch them because these fish are gonna be gone in a few weeks. So there's one. Oh. him off. I just got bit way shallow, way up. Like the end of a long cast. There's one. Can't tell. Yeah, I think so. That was like such a long cast.
Oh yeah.
Good smallmouth. Thanks, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Starts the day right. It's just a chunky one, dude. Super thick, fat, healthy. Bye! Yeah, 3 or 4 casts right in a row. Like I lost one, caught one. You lost one, caught one. So this was a group of fish. Our first spot where we were starting on, where I lost that good one, Ryan lost that good one. Those fish just weren't there. I don't know if it's a time of day thing or what might it be, but we're down here. Still pretty shallow, 5-6 foot. But these fish seem to be pushed up because the water temp here is about 5 to 6 degrees warmer than down on the mile roads, which is one of the biggest community holes on the lake. Like general mile roads is where you come in the springtime. But that water is only about 46. Up here it's 53 degrees. The water on the mile roads is also ultra clear, like 10-12 foot visibility, which doesn't necessarily hurt sometimes, but when you've had huge weather fluctuations, like I think it's messing some fish up. It could be one of those things we let that spot set and then we roll back to it and they're all big on it again. There's one. Oh my gosh, dude. They fight so hard. I just don't want to deal with the net, to be honest with you.
I just don't have to use it that much in Ohio.
Right.
Flip everything. And most of the time it's like a single hook bait.
That's about what we're catching on this spot, like a 2.25 pounder. Thanks, buddy. As I was catching that fish, Ryan asked the question, do fish normally group up in size out here? And that's the thing, especially with smallmouth, is like they tend to group really heavy by size. So you'll be catching 2 pounders and that's typically all you're gonna catch. Now sometimes in the pre-spawn it's a little different, like you'll get some big females mixed in. But a lot of times I've found, like if you're catching 2 pounders, maybe you'll catch a 3 mixed in, but you're not typically gonna catch like your 5s in that same school. Or they'll be the first or the very last one that'll get to bite.
Is this good to you right here?
Huh?
Is this good to you right here? You see it?
Yeah.
All of this like little rock and then like...
Those are fish, dude.
Those?
Aren't those fish? Why are there shadows off of
it
them?
is. They are fish. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. Bass maybe, you think?
Let's try it.
Does this look good to you right here?
Do these fish on my graph, do these look good to you? Should we fish for these? There's a couple there.
Yeah, you see them?
Yeah. Yeah, I see them. There's one. They're big, dude. Oh my god, they're big. Still though, that's better than those ones we were catching. About the same. There's a lot of them though. There's one.
I saw him eat it. I saw him eat it, dude.
There's a lot of fish here, guys. We had driven over this spot and Ryan goes, you think we should stop and fish here? Does this look good? These scattered boulders? And I look at Ryan's screen and it's just lit up with fish, just hundreds of fish. Yeah, we should probably stop and fish here. Thank you. Quick release. And there's a bunch of them.
Dude,
all over the
there's a
grass.
bunch of them.
Oh, that's funny.
I just watched him, dude, I watched him eat your rattle trap and then I panned over and watched him eat this jerkbait.
Look at all those fish right there. Fish, 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 fish. Fish is gonna eat. Yeah, fish is gonna eat Ryan's jerkbait like right now. He's coming back for it. Yeah. That's crazy. Oh, I got one.
There you go.
I got one. I don't know if it's big or not. There's so many fish here. Better fish. I'm just gonna flip them. There's hundreds of fish on this spot. The way I've been catching them on this lipless is I make a long cast with the bait and I let the bait settle on bottom. After it's settled on bottom, I lift my rod and I'm essentially yo-yoing this lipless. So I lift the bait, let it fall back to bottom. Once it hits bottom, I lift the bait, track it back to bottom. But that's all I've been doing, and what it's doing is allowing those fish to come up, notice, recognize its presence, and when it falls back down, they'll come nose in on it. When you go to lift that bait up again, the fish follow it up and they eat it. A lot of times it's as you're lifting the bait up, that's when you get a lot of your bites. We've caught what, 50, 60, 80, 70 fish? Oh God, I got a big one. We're on a spot with like hundreds of fish. I mean, we've probably legit, I mean, not playing, caught 70 fish. And I just caught a 4-pounder, and I mean, I don't know what you guys are doing or where you're at, but yeah, it's going on up here.
Oh, what happened?
I can't set the hook right away because they take it and then they come to me, and if I pull it too far, they like lose it. I think some of them are like hitting it with their tail, like I just run it into them. Because I'll go to like lift and you'll feel it like bump almost like it's a rock, but I know it's not.
Might be a better one too.
Dude, that one hit it and like came. Oh, dude, mine's good. Mine's big, yeah. I don't know, but he looks pretty big, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mine's a fat one.
Hey Ben, does this look good to you? You think? Does this look good?
Is this kind of stuff you look for out here, Ben? Yeah, hundreds of fish. Yeah, this is kind of what you need to look for.
I was just gonna keep going and just mentally note like that's what to look for.
Look at how gluttonous this fish is.
So guys, I've been coming to Lake St. Clair for a little over 10 years now. I try to make as many trips as I can. I live in Southern Ohio, so not too far, but one of the best trips I've ever had. Day and a half. We caught over 100 fish today in 4 hours. Caught size and numbers, a 568, a 532, a 512, another 5-pounder today. So Lake St. Clair is still, in my opinion, one of the best smallmouth fisheries in the country. Also, what makes it better is have been in the boat. Ben and I have been really good friends for 10 years now. We actually met on Lake St. Clair.
This dude was my first ever fishing friend, like the first dude I ever really like became friends with that also fished, which is crazy, man. We're talking like over 10 years ago. It's kind of unbelievable that we still even talk because we don't live near each other, and yeah, pretty nuts, but awesome trip.
Great time. It couldn't get any better, and I can't wait to get back up here again.
Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Today was unbelievable. We caught well over 100 fish, like zero exaggeration. It was almost every cast for 2 full hours, so it was pretty incredible. We found that spot a little bit away from where we were fishing, and basically all it was a little bottom transition outside of a channel where they had deposited some rock, probably from dredging out the channel. So really good day. I caught them all on that lipless. Ryan was catching them all on that Stunna 112 in the table rock shag color. I'm telling you guys, if you don't have that table rock shag color, that is absolutely the deal. That is my favorite color in the Stunna. It catches them whether the water's super clean or super dirty. It's a natural looking color and just really catches big smallmouth. The rod that I was throwing was the TFO tactical glass rod, 7.4 medium heavy. That glass was really important with that lipless because they wanted to eat that bait when I was lifting the bait up. So a lot of times they'd get that bait and the rod would have enough give that it would let those fish pin themselves, and then all I had to do was continue leaning into them. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below. Lots of more fishing content coming soon. I know this was the first video for 2022, and there's really not that many better ways to start it off than with like 200 fish days back to back. So catch you guys very soon. Take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion. Oh, bro, chachos! Welcome back to another YouTube video, Nowakers. We are out here today chasing some big fish. We're back on St. Clair with Jake and Dirds. Video number 2, second half of the day. We actually, this is a continuation of the other video you guys saw with Ryan when we ended up going out and smashing some fish on a lipless. Went back to the Airbnb, grabbed lunch. Ryan ended up heading home. We're coming back out here chasing some giants. Our goal today is to get a really big one. We've caught some good ones, some 5.5s, but we're looking for a 6-pluser. So that's what the goal is today. Fishing a little bit different area, super windy out here. Gonna be throwing that jerkbait, searching for a bigger than average bite. It's kind of the goal for today's video. Let's make it happen. Look at how he smoked that bait, dude. Chewed it.
T-bone?
I mean, it's
no, it's
way in there. That's so cool. Okay, we're gonna have to double net him. I'm sorry. I was over here messing around with mine. I just don't want to break it off.
There we go.
Break it off. Good job, dude. My fish ate that jerkbait pretty deep in his mouth.
It's a two-person job.
That's what happens when I'm over here trying to take pictures of my fish. Jake's helped me get my fish unhooked. Because you want a stunner?
Yeah, he does.
That's a pretty color, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm curious how far fish in this clear water track that bait.
Forever.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if you guys can see them, but there are dark spots all over this flat. And it's just basically these round, dark blobs, and these fish sit in those dark areas and use it as an ambush point. It might heat up faster, it might be a different bottom composition, just whatever it is, it provides these fish something different on the bottom, and that's what we're targeting with these jerk baits. Now in the past that I've had success here, they've sat in these spots and you'd be able to catch 3, 4, 5 fish out of one dark area. I'm fat. We're on the prowl for a big fat sow. The way that we do this thing is we fish a spot and we don't like to waste a lot of time. If these fish are there, they're gonna be there and they're gonna be eating pretty quick. So we're hitting a spot, making 5, 10, 15 casts. If we don't get bit, they're probably not there and not willing to eat, and those are the ones we're searching for. So look for Big Mama on the move. Big, 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 big. It's not bad. Good work. Oh, it feels so good when you make a decision and it's right. That's what fishing, like, that's what gets me excited. Making good decisions. Okay, let me steal your attention for about 2 minutes. I'm in the middle of editing the video that you guys are watching right now, and you hear us keep talking about the 112 jerkbait and the 112 plus one. I'm not typically a person that's going to say there is a magical bait. There is a bait that catches fish over all other baits. But for some reason, it seemed like on St. Clair, the 112 jerkbait was catching more fish than other baits. It was like if you didn't have a 112 tied on, you weren't getting the number of bites and you weren't getting the quality of fish. Now the reason for that could kind of be twofold. Now, one, I think it's because not many people are throwing the bait, and it has a different sound and action in the water than other jerk baits. Now, there's 2 or 3 main colors I would recommend. Number 1 is either bronzeback or MF Tennessee shad. It's probably my all-time favorite. Number 2 is this Table Rock shad color. I like this anytime the water's off color or it's cloudy. That's why you guys saw us fishing this quite a bit, is because it was a little bit cloudy, the water was a little bit dirtier. And then number 3 is that Stone Cold color. That Stone Cold is really cool because it's more of a matte finish. It's like your matte Pro Blue. When it draws fish, it calls fish from long ways away. So those are my 3 recommended colors: MF Tennessee shad or bronzeback, Table Rock shad, and that Stone Cold color that I was fishing in the video that you guys are watching right now. I just wanted to really address the point that I think there is something special about this bait, and just like a lot of baits, when they're on it, they seem to be on it. So continue enjoying this video. Just wanted to address that. Enjoy.
Episode of the smallmouth experience. We have enough water in the boat that we do not need to use the line.
They're right there.
They're right there. Last time I called big, it was like a small one.
Yeah, last time I caught a
No, that's a big one. That's a big one. Gluttonous beast. Nah, he's not that big. He's just fat. Feel how heavy he is.
My gosh. Yeah.
That is a fat fish, though. Look how fat that baby is. That is a good F-U-N-T-I-M-E. Oh, wow. I saw that, nerds. Jake's.
Yes. Did we just find?
Oh, dude.
Did we just find?
Get it! It's a big one! We got him. We got him. We got him. That was sweet. Oh, that's a big one. Yeah. Holy camole. What is going on? Let me get a picture of this. Hold the net. Oh, that was way too funny. You're chasing it.
I think there's a lot right here.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially if we don't blow over it like last time.
I have been slowing my pauses down. I might just sit there a little bit.
Oh my goodness. I don't. Mine's not as big as yours. That's a good one.
Get a little closer. Like you like each other.
Bye, buddy. I just was listening to you guys and it just pulled away. I don't know if that's big, but he took it away from me. That's how you got him right there. Yeah! My biggest one of the week, I think. We got a mouth like a largemouth. That's called a Shanghai snaky. Snack. The key for what we're doing right now is targeting shallow wood. So we're looking for wood.
Looking for the wood, no whackers.
And if you do that in that 7 to 10 foot range, we've been catching them. That's been the deal. Finding the wood in that 7 to 10 foot range pretty much the entire weekend so far. Now if you can find it mixed with a little bit of grass on the bottom, basically that's the deal. Go find the wood, cast your bait to it, catch some bass. Whew. Small craft warning on the big Lake St. Clair. We're gonna have just a couple hours. I think the wind is gonna keep going throughout the day, so we're just gonna come out here, see if we can't catch a couple more fish before the end of the trip. And yesterday was really, really good. We filmed 2 videos one day. Smashing with Ryan in the morning, came out here, caught him on a jerkbait in the afternoon. Hopefully that jerkbait will play again, or whatever we need to have to play again, and we'll catch some more fish. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a really fun one. Huge winds, big bass. Let's kick some booty. I'm a bass fishing boy, just trying to catch them. I'm throwing that Vapor Stunna 112 again. Jake's starting with a big old mega bass. And we'll see what we can make happen. Oh, dudes, I don't know why my camera wasn't going. Oh, I caught a tagged smallmouth. Look at this. So they have this tagging program where they put this tag on their lip, and it basically allows you to go in and enter the information so they know how far fish travel and everything. My first one ever, dude, and they came out stunning. That is so cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tag off and we're going to look this fish up, and I'll give you guys an update on what I get back about this fish, because this is so cool, man. Like, I've heard of guys catching these fish, but I've never caught a tagged one, and that's sweet. So you just kind of pull that tag off like that, and Jake and I were talking. This fish is this tag's pretty old. It's rusty, and the fish's mouth is grown around it, so that's probably a decently old tag. So they'll send me a report on this fish, where he's been, where he was put in the lake or tagged, and it's probably a 3.5, 4 pounder. Thanks, bud. That is so cool. That is my first tagged smallmouth ever. Oh, that was awesome, man. Like, long cast with this jerkbait. I'm fishing that Vapor color still, which is that matte blue from Berkeley. There's one. Big. I think so. Oh, one-eye Petey. That's about a 4 pounder. That is a super nice fat fish. He's only got one eye though. One-eye Petey fell victim to the Vapor. Thanks, buddy. Did you rescue the welfare bait?
It's been rescued twice.
Dude,
now.
You rescued the welfare bait. Give us the full story on this bait, man, because
Right, so
the people need to know.
This bait
was my go-to bait last year here and has been completely wrecked. I lost it yesterday, and our boy Dirty Dirds was able to tag my line, get it back, just lost it again, and was able to snag it with my other jerkbait. I think I'm officially retiring that one.
Oh, heck yeah. What a day. I thought that one was gone for sure that time.
Sir?
Yep. It's like 2 casts with the stunner. That's funny here. There really is something to this bait. Like, I'm not just making it up. It has been the bait of the weekend. There. First cast. Pretty good one. Oh yeah, dude.
Nice job, bud.
Wow,
that's a big one.
That's a beauty, dude. Thank you, fish.
Okay.
Okay, they're here.
There might be a pattern, dude.
Ah, that's so cool, dude. I love that. I love that. Big, dude. Big. Yeah, dude.
Now 22.
Oh my god. Holy moly, dude. He locked me up, man. Oh, golly.
That color. Oh, that's big.
Man, what a Chunkosaurus. Thanks, buddy.
Dude, that one I just hooked. Oh, it's not.
So that's 2 fish in like 5 minutes on this spot for about 8.5 pounds. Pretty sweet. It feels so good. We're expanding on a pattern that we figured out yesterday. It just feels really good. So I want to give you guys a quick rundown on kind of the secret pattern that we've been running the past couple of days. And it's something I don't think a lot of people talk about. I've not really heard much of, but it's a really good pattern for springtime smallmouth, especially when the water is still cold. We're talking upper 40-degree range to lower 50-degree range. And what I'm talking about is targeting shallow wood. That's what we've done all week long. That's how we've caught all of our fish, is targeting shallow wood cover. And the key, and I'm going to keep saying it, is wood. The reason wood is important is because it holds heat better than a bunch of other types of cover. And it also tends to have a natural ecosystem that lives around it. A lot of the wood in the lake, especially if it's been there for a long time, has zebra mussels, has algae growth, and that attracts those microorganisms that attract the bait fish, that attract the big bass. It also provides a natural cover spot for these fish to hang out. Now, a lot of times on a place like Lake St. Clair, pretty much void of a bunch of cover, this can be a great place for these smallmouth to hang out, stay warm, feed up, ambush bait, and even when the water is cold, it's a good place for these fish to stage and just relax. So that shallow wood has been really key for us this week. Now, we've been targeting it with the Berkeley Stunner. Really, 2 colors have come into play for us. Number 1 was the Table Rock Shad color. The other is this Vapor color, and it is basically a matte pro blue color. And the reason it works so well is because it stands out in off-colored water, or when it's cloudy outside, it's a color that silhouettes really well so the fish can see it from a long ways away. So the jerkbait rod that I like to use is the TFO Tactical Bass 7-foot medium crankbait rod. This is a graphite cranking rod that is a moderate action, and for me that's really important. It's 7 feet long, so I can make a really long cast with that bait and get it away from the boat, but when I do hook the fish, the rod's more moderate, it's lighter action, so it helps keep those fish pinned on those small treble hooks. Then I'm throwing an Abu Garcia Revo ALF high-speed gear ratio 8:1-to-1 reel, and then I'm using Trilene XL fluorocarbon. It's 10-pound test. The XL fluorocarbon is actually made for spinning reels, but I like the way that it handles and manages, especially with that lighter line diameter on my bait caster. So that's my overall setup. That's what I've been using to catch these fish, keep them pinned, put them in the boat, and yeah, it's been a blast this week. That is the end of our St. Clair trip. It was insane. The past 3 days have been a blur. Jake and I were just talking, but just incredible fishing. Like, got out, caught a bunch of fish, caught big fish, caught numbers of fish, and caught them the way we wanted to catch them, which was shallow on a jerkbait. Jake said on the way down, like, I'm gonna lock a jerkbait in my hand and we're gonna catch them that way. And
did.
We definitely did. So it was a really, really awesome trip. Huge shout out to Jake and Ryan for letting me hop in their boat. I'll make another video on that coming up very shortly, but man, it was an insane trip. And to St. Clair, now we're gonna go back up north, fish the Great Lakes, fish some inland bodies of water, chase some big fish, big smallmouth, with some really cool trips on the way. But if you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Again, thank you, man, for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time. We found the pattern, utilized it, capitalized on it, spread on it, and put some fish over the boat.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion. As you guys can see, not the most ideal smallmouth conditions. Super rainy, muddying cold water, and overcast conditions all day. So it's a tough day out here on Lake St. Clair. We're probably gonna hit the lake here in a little bit, but I just wanna give you guys a rundown of the basics of Lake St. Clair, the thing that you guys need to know if you're coming to St. Clair, so that's what this video is gonna be all about. If you guys are looking for a place to stay on St. Clair when you're here, check out Totally Hooked Lake House. That's where I'm staying right now. Incredible views. You're right on Anchor Bay, 2 minutes from Fairhaven, about 10 from Selfridge, and 15 or 20 from Harley. So really centrally located. You're right on the water, easy access to the lake. It's a beautiful house, and when it's not raining, you can sit out on the back deck and even just dock your boat here if you'd like. But check out Totally Hooked Lake House. That'll be linked down in the description below. Without further ado, let's dive into the breakdown of Lake St. Clair. So what I want to do is, we're sitting here on the shores of Lake St. Clair. I want to break down my favorite baits, some of my favorite areas, and things that you guys can look for when you're out on the water to have success. This is when those fish are going to be pushing into those shallow flats. They're going to be sitting on isolated and just giant transitions. And this one you can catch a bunch of fish and a lot of big fish. Ethan yesterday caught his PB, 589, so you guys can go check his video out. I'm going to link his video and his YouTube channel in the description below. But 589, absolute giant fish. So there's giants that live here, there's giants that push shallow, and I want to share with you guys some of my tips and ways that I like to go out in here and catch them. Before we start to dive into the baits, I just want to talk about some of the areas of the lake. And I'm not going to give away anything secret, just some of the most popular areas on the lake. If you guys come to St. Clair, these are the areas that you're going to hear about, especially in the springtime. So when you're here in the spring, my favorite launch is Harley Ensign. It's pretty centrally located. You can run up to Selfridge if you want. You can run down to the Mile Roads, and it's just probably my favorite launch. It's free to anyone that has the DNR passport. It's just really nice, centrally located, easy access ramp. There's also Metro and 9 Mile. Both of those are paid ramps, and 9 Mile is really going to put you at the bottom end, or I would say mid to lower end of the Mile Roads. If you guys want to talk about some of the most productive areas on the lake, the Mile Roads during the spring are the most productive area. Like, that's what you hear about when you talk about guys catching hundreds of fish, and you talk about guys that are in these big armada of boats. They are fishing the Mile Roads. They're in this big, giant, probably 8 mile area where these fish will just get in this shallow flat. And the biggest thing about the Mile Roads is that you have this big, vast area of water that is less than 10 foot. Not only is it less than 10 foot, but most of it is from 6 to 10 foot of water where these fish want to be in the spring. So what they do is these fish will push up onto the Mile Roads into those transitions, onto those isolated pieces of cover and structure that are up there, and they'll hang out and get ready to spawn. So that's why it's so productive on the Mile Roads. You have just this vast area that has a lot of really good areas for these fish to get up pre-spawn, feed, hang out, and then even push to the shore and spawn. So the Mile Roads are the top area on the Lake St. Clair. Now, as you move further south, you have Ford's Cove, you have Grosse Pointe Yacht Club. These are some other really popular locations. And then there's some other areas further towards Detroit, but most of my fishing is done between the Yacht Club and I would say Harley Ensign for the Mile Roads. Then if you go further north, you have Selfridge, which is basically a different lake in and of itself, and then you have Anchor Bay even further north. Both of those areas are a little bit different than fishing the Mile Roads. You can't just drift around and catch fish, but they're also really productive if you can get up there and figure out, you know, the grass patches or the pieces of wood that these fish sit on or the pieces of cover that you need to be targeting. They can be productive as well, but most of the people that come to St. Clair are going to be fishing the Mile Roads because it's just so easy to get to, so relatively obvious, and you can just get in the armada of boats and catch fish. The final area is Muskies Bay and the bays on the north end of the lake. Those are some of the areas that you can get protected from the wind. So you have these bays that will come up in the north end where you can kind of get out of some of that wind if you do get it. But that's more of a later spring deal when those fish are getting ready to spawn. So I don't have much experience up there, but I know the bays like Muskies, Goose, and some of the other bays on the north end of the lake are really, really productive. What I'm going to be looking for when I come to the lake is really bottom transition changes. Even on the mile roads where it looks like guys are fishing just this general vast area, what I'm targeting are these areas where you have sand that mixes with a different type of bottom composition. And there's a lot of sand and there's a lot of gravel on Lake St. Clair, but where you have that transition between the two with some isolated pieces of cover nearby is where you're going to have the most success. So when you get on the mile roads, you have these big stretches of area where you have that bottom transition. What you can do is start your drift and drift with the wind, and every time you catch a fish, mark a waypoint. Because a lot of times what happens is that fish doesn't just happen to be there for no reason. What you'll notice the more and more you do this, your waypoints are going to stack up on very specific areas. The reason for that is there's a piece of cover that maybe is there. There's a bottom transition, something a little bit different on the bottom where these fish want to hang out. But every time you catch fish, when you're making these big drifts on the mile roads, drop a waypoint because you can kind of identify productive locations to go and catch bass. So this is something you can replicate time and time again. The mile roads are prolific for this, as is most of Lake St. Clair. These big long drifts where you have these sweet spots that these fish want to hang out on. Let's talk about the way the lake sets up. For the most part, if you've never been up here, it really is a northern Lake Okeechobee. It's a big round bowl. I believe the average depth is around 12 foot of water, so it's a very shallow lake. But you have these big, vast, shallow flats that these fish want to push up on. So obviously, as I mentioned, you have the mile roads, you have some other areas further down the lake. Another thing to note is that half of the lake is actually in Canada, so you can really only fish the western shoreline. So if you get an east wind, it makes it a little bit tough, but most of the fish you're going to be targeting are in that 6 to 10 foot of water range. When you start to talk about St. Clair, guys are going to talk about depth a lot. Depth is the key factor out here, because what happens is these fish will get in a key depth, and then you can follow it across the mile roads or follow it across the lake and say, okay, I know my fish are in 6 to 8 foot of water, which seems like a very small window. When you look at the lake, where most of the lake is really, really shallow, that 6 to 8 foot depth, or that 9 to 12 foot depth, is a vast area, but it's really key in locating fish across the lake. So let's start to dive into some of the baits that I'm going to use, and I'm going to talk through some conditions on when I'm going to pick these baits up to give you guys some success. One of my favorite baits to cover water with on Lake St. Clair is a jerkbait. If I'm doing big drifts and I'm just looking to cover water, a jerkbait's a really, really effective tool to draw these fish up. The big key here is having fish come up to the bait, and smallmouth will chase. Fish will show themselves on this bait, and it will attract them from long distances. Because it's up off the bottom, these fish can see, and a lot of times they're feeding up, they can see that bait coming through the water, and they can come over and get it, as opposed to maybe a tube or something dragging on bottom where you have a little bit limited range. A jerkbait will call fish and draw fish from long ways. So if I'm doing those long drifts on St. Clair, on the mile roads, I'm going to pick up a jerkbait because it's just a really effective tool to cover water, especially if you have normal water clarity. Now the rod that I'm going to throw this on is a TFO Tactical Elite 7-foot cranking rod. I like that 7 foot because I can make a really long cast, kind of limit the presence of those fish feeling the boat. And then I'm throwing it on 12-pound test fluorocarbon line. I'm going to be fishing this bait moderate depth, typically no more than 10 foot of water, and so with 12-pound test I can get it almost down to the maximum diving depth, and I don't have to worry about breaking off a bunch of fish. Then I'm throwing it on a high-speed gear ratio, 8-speed reel. That's just to let me keep up with these fish or pick up on these fish when they do eat it coming to me. But some of my favorite jerk baits are the Dura Realis series, 100 through 120. The Berkeley Stunna has been really phenomenal for me, in the Jackal re-range. But I'm going to have a jerk bait video where I just brain dump about jerk baits on you guys. So I'm going to leave that link down in the description for you guys to check out if you guys want to learn exclusively about jerkbait fishing, and I go into real depth about these different baits and how I use them. Another bait I really enjoy throwing when I'm covering water is a crankbait. And I like this because I can basically cover water quickly, make fan casts to different areas, and pick apart these vast areas pretty quickly. My other big key is when that water starts to get some color to it, when it gets off color, I'll pick up a crankbait because I can have more success at triggering these fish with a louder crankbait than something dragging or even a jerkbait where these fish might not be able to see it quite as well. And the crankbaits that I'm going to throw are basically those 10-foot diving crankbaits. This is a Spro Little John Baby DD, so this dives down 10 to 14 foot of water. It's a little bit smaller profile. I also really like, a Berkeley Dredger, Rapala DT10, any of those 10 to 12 foot diving crankbaits. They get down to that mid depth, and then I'll control the depth that I get that bait with the line size. So I'm throwing it on 14-pound test line. Basically keeps it right on bottom in 10 foot of water. It allows me to really fish this without worrying about breaking that bait and breaking some fish off. The rod that I'm throwing it on is really important for this because I need to make a long cast, get that bait away from the boat to keep it down as long as I possibly can, as well as keep these fish pinned. A lot of times they'll eat this bait and just get one hook or just get the bait on the side of their face. So I'm throwing it on a TFO Tactical Bass Glass, which is a composite rod. So it's glass and graphite mixed, but it bends deep in the blank. So when you hook up on these fish and you load up, it won't pull these hooks quite as easily. And then I'm throwing it on a 6-speed gear ratio reel with that 14-pound test line, just making really long bomb casts, covering water with a moderate speed reel. And it's something I like to do when that water gets a little bit off-colored. And then rounding out those power fishing approaches, this should come as no surprise for smallmouth anglers, is a small swim bait. This is a 3.3-inch ribbed body paddle tail swim bait. So like your Kitech, your Berkeley Power Swimmer, there's a bunch of nice round body paddle tail swim baits on the market, and then I'm pairing it with a 3/8 ounce Golden Knife. The reason I like that 3/8 ounce, I can kind of keep it mid to lower column, especially when I'm throwing it on 14-pound test line. This is not a finesse style swim bait. I want this thing mid to bottom of the water, so that 3/8 ounce head really is key for me, less than 10 foot of water. I'm throwing it on a TFO 7.3 medium heavy, just your basic 7.3 medium heavy rod, and then 6-speed gear ratio reel with 14-pound test fluorocarbon line. Those are my power fishing approaches. Those are the baits that I'm going to cover water with, and when those fish are really feeding, those are the baits that I'm typically going to catch fish on. As we start to dive into some of the more, I would say, finesse approaches or standard smallmouth approaches, you got to talk about a tube. A tube is such a critical and important piece to smallmouth fishing. It has probably caught more smallmouth than any other bait. So I'm going to throw your 3.5-inch style regular size tube most of the time that I'm here in the spring. I'm looking for that bigger bite. This might not get you as many bites, but this is going to catch a lot of fish. This is a green pumpkin purple color. I'm not sure if they even make this anymore. This is a Cruncher's bait tube. And then I have a big bite or bite me style head in there. It's a goby shaped head. I like this because it kind of keeps it out of the rocks, keeps it from wedging in and burying into the bottom. But it's a more goby profile and it's a heavier head, so I can cast this a long ways. The thing with the tube is you want to really be able to get some distance between you, but also maintain kind of that bottom contact and keep that bait scooting through the water. So really with that 3/8 ounce head, it's going to keep it pretty close, locked down bottom, but you can still fish it really aggressively and make long casts with it. The rod that I'm throwing that on is a 7'3" medium power Tactical Elite. I like that 7.3 medium, especially when I'm fishing braid, because I don't want to move that bait super long distances when I do pop that, but I want to have a really positive hook set. So when I drive that hook home, it's a little bit heavier duty hook on that 3/8 ounce bite me head. I really need that braid to help drive that hook home on this rod. And then I'm throwing that on a really big spinning reel. It's a 35 size, 20-pound test braid to 10 or 12-pound test fluorocarbon line. You don't have to go finesse with the setup. It's a big, beefy profile. It's like throwing a jig out there. You don't have to really finesse these fish, so that's why I'm going with that little bit heavier braid, a little bit heavier fluorocarbon, because I don't have to basically finesse these fish into biting this thing. They're going to bite it. You're going to catch a lot of fish. When you know where they're located, you can throw that thing out, and if they're not biting a tube, they're probably not biting many baits. Kind of building on that tube, an alternative would be a Ned rig. I know a Ned rig is no surprise to pretty much any of you guys, but a Ned rig is a phenomenal tool. Now this is a new Duo Realis Ned bait. It's made of that Elastec style plastic, an elastomer plastic that has a lot of stretch, but it's also extremely buoyant. I think that's important when you're fishing a Ned bait because you want that bait to be up off of the bottom. You don't want this thing dragging around scooting, looking ridiculous. So having some sort of buoyant plastic when you stop this bait is going to allow it to stand up, and it's going to basically draw or trigger fish to bite that are kind of following that thing. And when this stands up and it looks in their face, they can come over and grab the bait and eat it. For me, a Ned presentation is really effective when that water is clean, when I have targeted fish, but it's not something I'm going to throw to cover water. This is not a bait that I'm going to throw when I'm just covering the flats. I really like a Ned rig bait when I know where I'm fishing, when I'm fishing a specific target or a specific area where I know that there are fish are at. That's when I'm really going to pick it apart with a Ned bait. This is a Duo Realis ND Ned wriggle stick, so it's a smaller, slimmer profile. Like I mentioned, has a really unique profile. It's got those ribs on it, and this is like a watermelon with orange color. They make some really unique colors, but this is a bait that I've had some success with this spring, and it's just a little bit different than a lot of the Ned baits on the market. Throwing it on a 3/16 ounce head. I want to get this bait away from me, and I want to lock it to bottom. A lot of you guys like to throw it on those lighter heads, which you can do. For me, it's all about locking this thing on bottom and really feeling where I'm at in that cast, which is why I go with the 3/16 or 1/4 ounce most of the time. Unless those fish tend to be really finicky, then I'll downsize to like an 1/8 or even a 3/32 ounce head. But most of the time, if I can get away with it, I'm throwing it on that 1/4, 3/16 to get that thing away from me. And then the rod that I'm throwing this on is the TFO Resolve Bass 7.3 Medium Light Plus. Medium Light Plus is in between your medium light and your medium, and I really like that when I'm fishing Ned heads or small baits along the bottom. Kind of gives me more ability to stay connected to these fish throughout the fight. I'm throwing it on 10-pound test braided line to 8-pound test or 7-pound test fluorocarbon line. That just allows me to be a little bit more stealthy when these fish are looking at the bait and coming up behind it. Again, a 30 size reel has a bigger drag system, and it just allows me to cast that bait a little bit further. We're gonna wrap this thing up with kind of a sneaky finesse bait for when these fish are up shallow and they're acting funny. It is a small swim bait on an Okashira head. A lot of times on St. Clair, these fish are starting to get really, really pressured. I guess they've been pressured for a while, but these fish will get weird on your bait. And so if you take a small 3-inch style swim bait, you put it on the back of an Okashira head, you can give them a different presentation that's a lot more subtle than that big 3.5-inch swim bait that I showed you guys earlier. And what I like about this bait is you can get it a long ways away from the boat, really control that depth by changing your reel speed. Now the key with this is that little prop blade on there, you want to just barely have that turning through the water. So when you cast this bait out and you're fishing it, you want to reel it almost as slow as you possibly can just to get that prop to spin. And it kind of causes a unique disturbance in the water, and it gives your bait a little rocking action as you're fishing it back to the boat. So it's a really unique presentation. It's something way more subtle than a lot of the baits that I've showed you, and especially when that water's clear and fish are feeding up in that, I would say, less than 8 foot of water range. This is a killer bait that will catch you a bunch of fish. The rod that I'm throwing that on is a 7'6" medium light. You want to get that bait away from the boat, and this is going to allow you to do that. It also has a little bit longer handle, so you can put it under your armpit when those fish bite it. Just lean into them. You don't have to do a big hook set on this bait. I'm fishing it on 6-pound test fluorocarbon, so you just need to drive that bait home. So I'm using that bigger size reel again. This is a 30 size reel, bigger drag system. I can cast that bait a long ways, and I'm fishing that on 6-pound test braided line to 6-pound test fluorocarbon. I really want to have the most subtle presentation I possibly can, give these fish every opportunity to bite this thing without spooking them, whether it be my line, whether it be my fluorocarbon. Another secret for you guys is when you're doing this, I like to use a really long fluorocarbon leader, so a 30 to 40 foot fluorocarbon leader. That's going to actually sink and keep that bait more horizontal in the water. If you use a shorter leader, that braid's going to float. It's going to have more arc to it. It's going to cause that bait to kind of run a little bit nose up, which looks less natural. And when fish are really finicky and they're super pressured like they're on St. Clair, it can be the difference between the best day of your life and a day where it's just you're just catching some fish. So if you're looking in really clean water situations, pressured, less than 8 foot of water, and these fish are up there kind of feeding on that small bait, the little screw head style with a small 3-inch swim bait is a really phenomenal and effective approach to go out and catch these fish. So hopefully that helps give you guys some information and understanding of how I break down St. Clair in the spring. Pretty much anytime that water is from 45 degrees to 65 degrees, these are approaches and these are areas on the lake that you guys can go out and have success. St. Clair's a phenomenal fishery. You can have some of the best days on the water here. Let me know about some of your experiences on St. Clair. Where did you catch fish? What did you catch them on? What were you doing that might be the similar or different than what I talked about in this video, because it's a really unique fishery and I love to hear you guys' stories. If you guys want to see more videos like this, click this video right here. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and thank you guys so much for watching. All the products are going to be linked down in the description below if you guys want to check these out. It's going to give you some awesome opportunities to go check out these baits and pick them up from omnia.com. Thanks so much. Take care. Tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion. What's going on, everyone? My name is Benjamin Nowak, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys the top 5 baits I would have tied on Lake St. Clair early in the season to go catch big smallmouth bass. Now when I talk early in the season, early spring, I'm talking mid 40 degrees to low 50s. A lot of times these fish are going to start pushing shallow. They're going to be the ones that move up first. They're going to be in that 6 to 11 foot of water range, so that's the depths that I'm going to be talking about with a lot of the baits that I'm featuring in today's video. And I'm also going to share with you guys a secret bait that my buddy Captain Brant Shredder shared with me the other day when I was on the water with him. So if you guys want to check that video out, I'll have it linked down in the description below. I'll also have a little pop-up that'll come out over one of my shoulders here, so you can click on it and go see that video after we're done talking about your top baits for Lake St. Clair. So we're gonna start with the baits that I caught them on really well, and the first one is a Lipless Crankbait. Now this one here is a 1/2 ounce 6-cent snatch, but the one that I was throwing is actually a Dual Realis Vibration 68, and I'll show you that here in just a second. It's a 3/4 ounce bait. But the way that I was fishing this was kind of unique. Instead of burning it along like you would traditionally fish a Lipless Crankbait, I was casting it out and fishing it similarly to a blade bait, which is also like a combination lure. You could either fish a lipless or a blade bait, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But I was casting it out, letting it fall all the way to the bottom, and then just using slow rod movements to lift the bait up off the bottom and feeling the vibration of that bait. And a lot of times when I'd lift that bait and it fell back to the bottom, it just wouldn't get there. That fish would be on it, and that fish would be eating it. The rod that I was throwing that on is an Arc crankbait rod. It's a 7/4 medium heavy moderate rod, and the reason I like that is because it can make really long casts, and because it's a composite rod with a moderate action, it helps keep those smallmouth pinned when they go to throw the bait. And the reel that I was throwing is a Lew's BB1 Pro 16-pound Sunline Sniper fluorocarbon. This bait here is a Dual Realis Vibration 68. Now this isn't the exact color. I actually cast the exact color off, but it's a 3/4 ounce lipless style vibration bait. And I was taking this and I was making long casts with it and just barely lifting it off the bottom. I was fishing it very similarly to a blade bait. And the color that I was throwing is called the Tool Perch. The Tool Perch looks like a goby, looks like a lot of things crawling around there down on the bottom, and it just catches a lot of fish for me. And I fished it very, very slowly, and those fish were choking it. That one had it like gone, like couldn't see the bait anymore, gone. Now an alternative for you traditional smallmouth guys would be just your standard blade bait. Now this is a chartreuse painted blade bait, but a blade bait works really well when that water temp is less than 55 degrees. So if you guys have blades in the boat, don't be afraid to throw a blade bait. It will catch big smallmouth anytime that water is cold. So this is an alternative to throwing a lipless crankbait as a blade. That's basically how I'm fishing the lipless anyways, so blade bait is a very effective tool in that cold water. So bait number 2 is a Ned rig. A Ned rig or a tube, either of them work great. The reason I like the Ned rig is that it gets a lot of bites. It catches a ton of fish, but it also catches a lot more smaller fish than a tube does. A tube is just really good at going out and catching big ones. A Ned rig will catch both big and small fish. This is a Z-Man Ticklers bait. It's a Dick's exclusive, but you're getting it in your first Monster Bass box if you guys are signed up for that. And I have it on a Berkeley 1/4 ounce half head. That's basically the Berkeley version of the Ned rig head. The setup I'm throwing it on is an Arc 7-foot Tharp Series medium power rod, Lew's custom speed spin reel, 3000 size with 15-pound braid to 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. Now, this is the same setup I would throw a tube on. I'm going to be throwing like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce tube. I want that bait on the bottom. Bottom contact is key this time of year, and that tube is going to get you a lot of bigger bites. Like I mentioned, the Ned rig will get you a lot of bites, but a tube just has a little bit bigger profile, and it tends to catch a lot bigger fish. My buddy Brant was catching all of his fish on a tube with the exception of a couple on a crankbait, and the tube just seemed to get a lot bigger bites than the Ned rig did. So if you want to go out and just chase bigger fish, you can throw this tube around and get a lot of big bites, but the Ned rig I just think is going to get you more bites dragging along down there on the bottom. This color here is the Shiz by Crunchers Baits. It's my favorite tube color other than Toad Teaser, which is very similar. And if I'm throwing a Ned rig, I'm probably going to be throwing like a Green Pumpkin or a Drew's Craw. Now bait number 3 is also kind of a combination bait, and it's either a swim bait or an Alabama rig. Now this swim bait right here is a Kitech in the smallmouth candy color or smallmouth killer color. And this is a Rains Rock Vibe Shad in Green Pumpkin. Now the reason I'm showing you 2 different colors is because this smallmouth killer color, these traditional IU colors, are going to be better for cleaner water. When that water is a little bit cleaner, this color I'm going to, when that water is a little bit dirtier, which it typically is in the spring, a Green Pumpkin color is just going to catch a lot of big fish, and it's going to stand out a little bit better in that dirtier water. So I'm going to be throwing a swim bait around those same areas that I'm throwing the tube, in the same areas I'm throwing that little lipless, but I'm going to be able to fish it a little bit faster, cover a little bit more water, and figure out where those fish are. It's going to pick off the more aggressive smallmouth. Now, if you're in your own boat, and the reason I say this, if you're in your own boat, bring an Alabama rig. Now, maybe your boater won't mind, but an Alabama rig is a hard bait to have as a co-angler. Now this is a 7-wire Frenzy Bait sniper rig. And here in Michigan, we can have 5 hooks. So if you're on St. Clair, you can have 5 hooks. Run 2 dummy hooks up here on top. Run 2 dummy baits that have no hooks, just a screw lock, and then run 5 hooked baits. You run an 1/8 ounce across the middle. The 3 in the middle are an 1/8 ounce, and the bottom 2 are a 1/4. That'll keep that bait running true. You can run 7 wires, and it just tends to get a lot of bites. It's something not a lot of people are going to be throwing, and it catches a lot of big fish. So if you're in your own boat or your co-angler, your boater doesn't mind, throw an Alabama rig. It's a little bit different. It's going to draw a lot of big bites from a lot of big bass, especially early season. For those of you guys that know me really well, bait number 4 should come as no surprise. It is a crankbait. I love to throw a crankbait for smallmouth. This is a DT10. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be fishing between like 6 and 11 foot of water. DT10 is a great bait. This is a Rapala bait, and it just catches a lot of fish. It's something a little bit different. A lot of guys are throwing baits that have a lot of rattles in them. The DT10, totally silent. I just think it gives those fish a little bit different sound profile down there in the water, and can attract some bites from fish that other guys are missing. So this is a Rapala DT10. The other bait I'm going to be throwing is similar to a Wiggle Wart. This is a 6 Sense Lures Curve 55. You have the Rock Crawler, you have the Strike King 3XD. Just something that dives down to about 10 or 12 foot, and you can fish it slowly along the bottom. These baits do great around rock, which is what a lot of people like to target early season around the mile roads. So basically throwing a Wiggle Wart, Rock Crawler, a Curve 55, something like this will get you a lot of bites as well. The colors I'm going to throw are pretty traditional craw patterns, traditional perch patterns, maybe something with a little chartreuse in it. My buddy Brant actually caught a 5.5 the other day on a Strike King 3XD, and like a craw pattern with a chartreuse belly, green tomato or something. Caught a 5.5 on it. So a crankbait works really well on rock this time of year. My last not secret bait, bait number 5, is a Dual Realis 110 jerkbait. Now, a 110 size jerkbait just gets a lot of bites anywhere, catches a lot of big smallmouth. When that water warms up in that 50-degree range, a jerkbait is going to catch them. So don't be afraid to throw a jerkbait and move it along pretty quickly. It's going to catch a lot of big fish early season. Color patterns are going to stay pretty traditional smallmouth patterns, sort of that olive back, these translucent or slightly opaque sides. Just really catch fish all across the country. You can throw those a little bit crazier colors, the purple backs with chartreuse bellies, but this is the one that I'm going to be throwing most of the spring. Has just a hint of chartreuse on the side there, and it catches a lot of big smallmouth. Now I know the bait that all of you guys have been waiting for is the secret from my buddy Brant, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And if you guys enjoy it, go over check Brant's page out, because he catches a lot of giants on this bait in the spring right here. It's a little hair jig. Now Brant fishes this in the same area as I'd fish a Ned rig, and he basically casts it out there and floats it down. He fishes it super slowly. This is an 1/8 ounce. You can fish kind of up to a 1/4, but I wouldn't go any heavier. You want it to float down, and it catches a lot of those suspended smallmouth. The smallmouth this time of year will suspend just off the bottom, suspend up slightly. When you throw a black hair jig like this one, it's going to float down to that fish, and they're going to come up and smash it. So Brant loves to throw this bait around rock when those fish are kind of lockjaw, not eating anything else. This little 1/8 or 1/4 ounce hair jig will catch a lot of big smallmouth bass. And this is a secret little bait, so I hope it helps you catch a lot of big fish.